Hello, I'm Annie, and these are my musings. Today's video is going to be talking about whether or not queer subtext is still important for LGBTQ plus representation in 2025. After all, subtext is easily ignored by those who are homophobic or transphobic so they can pretend that the representation isn't there, and make LGBTQ plus fans who do see themselves in these characters feel crazy. However, LGBTQ plus fans are not in the wrong for seeing themselves in characters, even if the representation isn't explicit and obvious. For example, Glinda and Elphaba and Wicked, Gelfie. They are not canonically together, but a lot of LGBTQ plus fans of Wicked ship them together and see themselves in both characters. In my opinion, these fans are not wrong at all for doing so. The issue is that fans who don't ship the couple will make those that do feel like they're noticing something that's not there, when there is a lot of subtext. That is the issue with queer subtext, is that people who have issues with queer pairings or who need everything to be spelled out for them will make LGBTQ plus fans who do notice the subtext feel like they're being weird. But it's a lot weirder, in my opinion, to insist that the character can be queer. After all, queer people exist in real life. Why not in fiction as well? Indeed, even if the representation is mostly subtext, it is up to LGBTQ plus fans to decide whether or not they claim it as representation or not. Though Gelfie and other similar pairings are not officially canon technically, when there is subtext, it is fine for LGBTQ plus fans to notice that subtext and lean into it. That being said, the question then becomes this. Is queer subtext as important as canon queer representation? Personally, I would argue it isn't, as subtext often gets ignored by those who are homophobic or transphobic and can easily be explained away as LGBTQ plus fans being delusional. Though there is nothing wrong with seeing oneself in a fictional character, those who aren't underrepresented don't seem to understand that often, and make LGBTQ plus fans feel bad about picking up on the queer subtext. That is why canon queer representation is so important, because it cannot be ignored or explained away as a delusion of the LGBTQ plus fans. However, sometimes, in some stories, subtext is all that LGBTQ plus fans have. Therefore, it should not totally be discounted when LGBTQ plus fans do pick up on it and feel represented by it. So is queer subtext still important for LGBTQ plus representation in 2025? I'd argue yes and no. Yes, because it is sometimes all that LGBTQ plus fans have in certain stories. And if queer fans feel represented by a certain character, who am I to tell them they can't? No, because when the representation is solely subtext, it can be ignored and explained away as a delusion of LGBTQ plus fans. This is not at all fair in my opinion, as there is nothing delusional or wrong about wanting to see oneself in the media. However, canon queer representation is important because it cannot be ignored or explained away as a delusion of LGBTQ plus fans, and that makes it more valuable than subtext in a sense. Though queer subtext can still be claimed by and important to LGBTQ plus people, it does not matter in a way as much as canon queer representation does. Because canon queer representation is obvious to everyone, LGBTQ plus or not. That said, sometimes stories do not have any canon representation, but do have queer subtext. And LGBTQ plus fans are not wrong for hanging on to the subtext as much as they can. Though in the grand scheme of things, canon queer representation might be more important and valuable, queer subtext cannot and should not be discounted entirely, as it is very important to LGBTQ plus fans, especially in stories without canon queer representation. Until representation is equal, LGBTQ plus fans will enjoy queer subtext where it exists, and that should be fine. Though canon queer representation is more important, queer subtext should not be seen as unimportant either, as it means a lot to some LGBTQ plus people. Everyone deserves to see themselves in the media they consume, and until they can, queer subtext will be meaningful to LGBTQ plus people. That's all I had to say in this video. For more LGBTQ plus and pop culture content, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!